Welcome to This Explainer. Today, I've got a highly personal, kind of wild story to share with you. It starts in the most mundane place imaginable, sitting in my gym's jacuzzi, and it ends with me accidentally stumbling into this profound, life-altering sense of calm. It's an experience that completely shifted my entire understanding of how our bodies process the relentless pace of modern life. So, picture this. I had just finished my usual gym routine. I'm sitting there in the bubbling water, and I decided to try out something I'd read about. I just closed my eyes and took 20 intentional, slow breaths. And you know what? Something extraordinary actually happened. My body completely settled. I mean, completely, in a way I hadn't felt in literally years. The heat, the weight of my limbs, the sounds around me, it all just landed. But right after this incredible wave of ease washed over me, this quiet, kind of unsettling thought popped into my head. Wait, this should be normal. Why does this feel so new? I honestly felt like I was physically floating on a cloud. Every single internal system in my body that usually sleeps with one eye open, it just let go. And honestly, this was genuinely shocking to me because like a lot of you, my daily baseline is just relentless. It's rushing from task to task, jumping from thought to thought. My body has learned to match that frantic pace by just constantly bracing, constantly being ready. Real stillness, and I don't mean just sitting on the couch scrolling on your phone, but actually landing in your body, well, that had become something totally foreign to me. But you know what? It turns out this wasn't magic at all. It was pure biology. What I had accidentally stumbled into is a sequence we're going to call the stack protocol. See, my nervous system wasn't malfunctioning, it was simply responding to layered inputs. Our nervous systems, they don't really understand logic, right? But they deeply understand physical signals. And when you stack these specific signals, movement, heat, pressure, and breath, you are suddenly speaking a language your body absolutely cannot ignore. Okay, let's break this down, starting with layer 1. The workout came first, which is absolutely crucial. Think about it. When you're sitting around in a state of low-grade chronic stress, your body is essentially holding its breath. It's constantly circulating cortisol, which is the exact hormone keeping your entire system braced for some invisible threat. Movement actively starts to burn through that circulating cortisol. So before I had even reached the recovery phase of my day, the exercise had already started to loosen the grip of that built-up stress. Now, what's really fascinating here is the concept of heart rate variation, or HRV. A body trapped in modern, everyday stress has a very rigid HRV. It's literally stuck. But exercise actively increases your HRV, taking your nervous system from this rigid, highly defended state to a far more flexible one. So by the time I finished my workout, my internal defenses were already starting to lower. Next up was layer 2, the sauna. Heat is an incredibly powerful biological signal. It activates your vagus nerve, that long, wandering nerve that acts as a direct, two-way communication line between your brain and your gut. Plus, heat triggers the release of endorphins. These are natural compounds that create this beautiful, mild sedative effect. Your blood vessels dilate, your muscles soften. This literally tells your evolutionary biology, hey, we are safe. I mean, humans have gathered around warmth for thousands of years, right? Our bodies just inherently associate heat with safety and community rather than danger. Then, the third layer brought the whole thing together. Sinking into that jacuzzi water added what scientists call hydrostatic pressure. That's just a fancy term for a gentle, even compression across my entire body. It acts as a super powerful ancient sensory cue. And it's not just the physical weight of the water either, it's acoustic too. Research actually shows that the sound of moving water reduces the activity of your sympathetic nervous system, that's your fight or flight branch, while boosting the branch that handles rest and digestion. So the real kicker here is that this physical water pressure heavily activates your proprioception. That's the sensory system that maps exactly where your body is in space. Think about it. When you're super stressed out, you feel totally ungrounded. But when the gentle pressure of water activates those proprioceptive pathways, your brain knows exactly where its boundaries are. And when your brain knows where it is, its primitive threat detection center naturally, automatically just quiets down. You don't need to brace for impact when you're being perfectly held. Finally, we hit the fourth, and honestly, arguably the most important layer, the breath. I did 20 rounds of box breathing. That's 3 seconds in, hold for 3, 3 seconds out, hold for 3. It's roughly 4 minutes of directly and manually overriding my brainstem. See, your autonomic nervous system is supposed to be automatic. It runs your heart rate and threat detection totally without your input. But your breath? That is the one control lever you actually have access to from the outside. And this brilliantly illustrates how slow, rhythmic breathing pushes you right over that final threshold. Those 4 minutes were sending the ultimate biological signals straight to my brainstem. Pace is safe. Rhythm is safe. We are not running. Now, I'd done the gym, the sauna, and the jacuzzi plenty of times before, but it never hit me like like this. The breathing was the piece I'd always skipped because, my mind was always too busy. Doing it intentionally was the exact signal my nervous system needed to finally stop. Think of your nervous system kind of like a swinging pendulum. Normally, when we relax, we just let the pendulum drop back down to the middle, back to a neutral state. But when you systematically lower cortisol through movement, and then you increase safety signals through heat and pressure, and then you manually override the brainstem with your breath, you aren't just going back to neutral. You are pushing that pendulum to swing all the way over into a state of deep, active healing. And there's actually a clinical name for that profound cloud-like feeling I experienced. It's called parasympathetic rebound. This happens when your nervous system is finally allowed to complete the stress cycle that it rarely, if ever, gets to finish. When your cortisol is completely dropped off and your vagal tone has risen, your rest and digest system just swings into the state of deeper than usual activation. It was literally just my biology doing exactly what it was designed to do once I finally gave it the space to finish its job. But we really have to address why this feeling was so unsettling to me at first. If full body calm feels totally foreign to you, it's because chronic stress literally turns down the volume knob on your pleasure circuits. Neuroscientists actually call this phenomenon hedonic blunting. When you run at a relentless pace for months or even years, your brain adapts. It recalibrates. The circuits that register pleasure, satisfaction, and ease, they don't disappear. They just go incredibly quiet so you can focus on simply surviving your massive to-do list. This is absolutely vital to understand. Feeling weird or guilty about relaxing is not a personality trait. It's just your brain intelligently adapting to a relentless, high-stress environment. Rest starts to feel unproductive. Stillness starts to feel suspicious. Full relaxation starts to feel almost unsafe, like you're dropping your guard when you definitely shouldn't be. That cloud feeling I had in the jacuzzi? That was simply my blunted reward circuits coming back online, all at once. If there is one thing you take away from this explainer today, let it be this. You are not broken. You absolutely haven't lost the ability to feel peace. Your body inherently knows exactly how to heal and how to rest. It just won't do it on command. It needs proof that it's safe. You have to deliberately stack the right signals, movement, heat, pressure, rhythm, to give your biology the permission it needs to let go. And hey, it might not work every single time. If you're too wired or just unwilling to truly close your eyes that day, that's completely okay. That's just information. But that capacity for deep rest, it is still in you, just waiting. So I'm going to leave you with this thought to ponder for your next gym session, or honestly, the next time you just have a tiny moment of quiet. Are you ready to stop running those endless lists in your head? Your nervous system has been running a marathon you never even signed up for. Are you willing to stack the right signals, finally drop your guard, and let your pendulum swing all the way back to the cloud?